What's up, guys? This is Ninja Hono Ninja, and today we are talking about Star Talk, and it is about astrophysicists discuss new evidence for dark matter stars. There you go. There's the title. There's the intro. There's the whoop-de-whoop-de-doop-de-doo. But anyways, as you see, it's at 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and the reason why is because I actually completely forgot, because my internet's down right now, but I completely forgot I can actually record videos uh, offline, and I can actually play videos using some alternative internet they have, basically. And so I don't have to write it down like I was. I can actually just talk to you guys. But basically, watching up to this point, 928, um, you claimed that we have flying cars. So I don't know if you watched it or not, but yeah, you should go watch it, check it out. After I read my notes, which again, fortunately, I just started taking them, and I just realized it, so it's not too much. But once I do that, then I'll respond a little bit. And yeah, you might want to know more and so forth. Come to my stream, Ninja on a Ninja, YouTube or Twitch, what is it called? Twitch.tv/ninja on the ninja. But anyways, so at 928 he mentions flying cars. So I'm gonna go ahead and read you what I wrote. You claimed that we would have flying cars, but in truth, we actually wouldn't have flying cars. Still, why is it? Is because of things that happened. For example, to Elon Musk, and how they held him back and stunted him in every way they could, stifle him, and make it so he couldn't make cars. And the reason why they did all of that is so that they can try to milk the community and the population and the people of people for money with like they're trying to sell oil and oil products and everything they could selling gas. We own all this gas. We need to sell all this gas to make money with gas. And if electric cars come in, then we can't sell people. Then they're sold to people, and we're gonna make a lot less money. So we can't have Elon Musk showing up, and they're trying to ruin him every single chance they can. And that's what happened to Elon Musk, and that's what's happening around the world. So no, it would have helped. Basically, and it was they're saying, well, if we encouraged women or if we enabled women to partake into the system, we would have flying cars. And I'm saying, no, we wouldn't. And the reason why is because these fuckers are the reason why this problem exists. And the issue is people like them. They grew up in a sheltered world where they never learned how to fight or stand up for themselves. They had bulldogs or whatnot, and how these bulldogs held women back, basically, and they never had learned how to stand their ground and defend themselves. And that's kind of what's going on in America today with Trump and all these people. Is no one is willing to step up to these people, but we're willing to say how bad it is, but no one's willing to go up to their face and say, you're fucking up, stop it, you little bitch, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? No one's willing to do that, so that's why the world sucks. So in truth, if you guys had balls, we might not be fucked. And I think it's safe to say at all points that lack of balls has been the issue, not literally just in the bravery sense. Basically, every single situation where it's like be a man, and the fact is they just couldn't be a man. Um, and 1010 rolls around. I just want to say that it's less than shocking that these are the names that you came up with, considering how much the world seems to be evolving and revolving around penises. I bet what happened is actually similar to what's happening now, where people like Conan O'Brien is in the market, in the media and whatnot, and how basically he chooses the topics, and the topic always seems to be of ego and penises and whatnot, and how that is the whole thing. Like that's the whole show, and they probably do that to keep society stupid, so that people can't rise up. And this is why they keep hiring dumb people to take over, because that could be a lazy manager. And then the managers that have it working, they're really good at doing the job. Like George Carlin said, is smart enough to do the job, but stupid enough to think they're stupid to think they're stuck where they are. Um, let's see. But he has a room of rioters, and there is never mention of them for any reason, and that's why the same thing is happening in the science rooms. Fakers speaking for them and changing the focus to bullshit, and that's to keep us quiet. The rich control the system, and that's the problem. Basically, they always find a way to basically keep the sheep going to Hollywood instead of like the truth, because Hollywood's more entertaining than reality, basically. So they keep going over there. And as long as like the Wally movie, as long as you can keep the people fucking, what's it called, subdued and sated or whatever, then they'll never turn and fight. They turn into fat nothings, like fat losers, and they never amount to anything. In reality, you should be the alpha. You should be dominating, but you're quiet and you're ballless, and that's the idea, and that's the reason why like the left is so blue hair and bitchy and bullshit, and the right is so fucking. They claim to be testosterone driven, but they're on their way to fucking blue haired bullshit because they're selling us fake meat with no eggs. Like the bananas have no seeds or whatnot. Like, come on now, they're turning into women. And the reason California is doing so well is because a lot of the shit comes from Mexico, and in Mexico, they're still like, no, we ain't gonna buy our fucking bullshit, and that's so.
Massive particles.
So that was that basically, and that's all I've written so far. The rest, I'm just making it up and recording and watching, and that's all I wrote. But just to go over it one more time, we don't have flying cars because the bad people decide what happens. Basically, we have let's see, yeah, flying cars. Elon Musk, uh, the 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 car companies won't produce Elon's cars, and so Elon has to sell out and do all this bullshit. And after he sold out and did all this bullshit, and they all started fucking him over. He still made hella bank despite all the bullshit, and despite everything failing. Like the window probably shouldn't have broke, but it did. Despite all this bullshit, he's still fucking winning. And that just shows you how ready we were to move on to flying cars. But again, they have a lasso around your neck and like, no, we gotta keep selling you oil. You gotta keep buying our oil. Gotta keep making money. We can't hand it off now. We're still alive. We still have our families. Like we haven't made enough money. We don't own the world yet. Like the fuck. You have to wait for you have to wait for us to be able to change. Because the world is changing. You notice that Elon Musk was only to able to unveil his car when everyone else had the electric car too, and that's because they took the idea from Elon and mass produced it in the factories that they denied him of, and that's what happened. They screwed Elon over, and because the left is so evil. In the sense that either you're with us or you're against us, and there's no in between with the left, uh, Elon Musk was chased away, and he had no room because they just would not have him. You either obey, or you're an evil, or you're evil, and that's kind of how it works. And I'm living proof. I've been banned by Destiny's chat, and I've been banned by Destiny because I swam against the current, or I swam against the current. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fact. And then Bernie Sanders is a Bernie blackout. No one's backing him up because they keep on selling you bullshit ass fucking meat and blah blah blah. Um, and then again with Conan O'Brien, Boomer Riders, everyone thinks that Conan's a badass, but in reality he's a little bitch. And so everyone bowed down. So everyone is a bootlicker for Conan, but then Conan's a bootlicker for the system. The system, it runs the world. It keeps fucking us over and screwing us over and robbing us and killing us, taking us for granted. Yeah. The world keeps getting worse. So, anyways, continue.
Okay, so
Yeah, two different acronyms.
Right.
Yeah.
Machos and wimps.
Machos and wimps.
Right, because the person that was doing it wasn't a science person. It was some fucking kid, and he was um, what's it called? He was all about sex and penises, so that's why it was all about science. The sciences came about penises. Like scientists are, we have that in our mind, but that's not what we put out in our writing, basically. But it's in our writing, and the reason why is because it's being handed to people that come in our writing. That's what it releases it as, because the what's it called? It keeps the people stupid and basic and docile, basically, so they're easy to control, manipulate, and control.
Yeah. These were not my invention, these names.
That's okay. I just want to know, is there particle lunch money anywhere in this equation?
Same.
Taken from him.
Yeah, it's funny, but again, like you're taking the discussion and you're going downhill with it, and she's kind of like laughing, ha ha ha. Kind of, I don't see her there. Like, see, she's kind of laughing because they're laughing.
We have
basically.
WIMPs weakly interacting. Massive particles. What makes them massive? When I think of particles, I think of very light objects. So where does massive come in on this?
Well, they weigh about 100 times as much as protons.
Wow.
Okay, so in the particle universe,
they're
huge.
In the particle universe, they're massive.
Yeah.
They're heavy.
If they're that massive and we can detect protons, why can't we detect these massive particles?
Well, there are 4 forces of nature,
Yes.
and by definition, all mass feels gravity.
For the record, there's 4 forces of nature that we know of. We don't know any more. There could be more. If you should, what's it called? If you're a kid and you're into this shit, go on and try to find the 5th, or prove that one of them isn't real, because we don't know for sure. It's just we pretty sure that that's the case, but we don't know for certain. And they keep talking like we know for sure, but then they go and say time is real. So I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I'm saying? Not this the language of the universe. No, it isn't. Off the planet Earth, and no one knows the fuck math is, right?
Gravity. But the dark matter doesn't give off light, so it doesn't feel electromagnetic
Okay, let's
forces.
do forces again.
Okay.
So we're going to call gravity a force in
Right.
this list. Okay. And then what else you got?
Electromagnetism.
Right.
Which I think we're all familiar with.
Yes.
Light, and it holds our molecules together, and our
Right.
particles, and atoms, and
Everything that's
Electromagnetism.
nice.
A demonstration of electro, we can
Mm,
punch
mm.
Chuck.
Yeah,
That's
demonstration.
electromagnetic.
If it weren't for electromagnetic, I wouldn't have felt that. Cool.
Okay, and I think we did a little bit in Cosmos about this. You're not actually touching each
Right.
other. That there's a field. You're reacting to a field that's set up, and it feels like you're touching them.
Right.
But if you really zoomed in, it's just fields that are
Really?
resisting
Oh,
each other.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stick in the mud. How dare you ruin our imagination and make me learn something? Because society has made it toward learning is the devil, and it's the worst. And parties, you ruin parties because you're like a stick in the mud know-it-all. Grr, we hate you, know-it-all. Grr, grr, grr. In reality, it's just what's it called, false alphas. They're hating the fact that they are an alpha and you are alpha and you know more, and they're pissed off that you know more, so therefore they try to make you hate the person who knows more, and that's kind of what took over, and that's why we would have fun cars, because it worked. So
Any scale. You're just there's a whole we did like a whole episode on Cosmos on that.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. So
The strong force,
strong force.
which holds our nuclei together,
Yes.
Right.
and the weak force
The weak force, which
is responsible for some types of radioactivity, like uranium decay.
so these are completely different forces. Don't
Yes.
have anything to do with each other.
Nope.
Okay. Yet they all come together to make the world as we know it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have ways that particles know
and again, that's the best as we know it,
about each other and interact with each other
Through these forces.
through these forces.
Yeah.
as we know it.
And I guess what you're telling me is that you've got a massive particle that does not use these forces to interact, other than gravity.
Well, no, we think the WIMP, weakly interacting massive particle,
Not no interacting.
feels the weak force.
Oh.
So of these 4 forces, it's got
That's where
gravity,
the weakly- that's where
and
weak
that's
comes
where
from.
the name weakly interacting comes from.
Oh, not that it interacts once every 7 days.
Well, there are, reporter ones.
Weekly.
once-
That was a joke.
Oh,
So-
weekly. Oh, God. Oh, God. I can't believe I didn't get it. Because the answer is actually more like monthly.
Oh, the rate at which you might detect it.
No, there are billions going through your body every second.
Billions of,
If they exist, these WIMP particles, there are billions going through your body, but about,
and they go through because they don't interact.
well, except about
If they exist, she said.
once a month, one of them would hit one of your nuclei
And interact.
And, right.
and interact
Okay.
by the weak force.
Oh,
The weak interactions with a nucleus in your body, which is, harmless.
Right.
we think.
You think
Yeah, well, let's hope.
That's what I think. We hope
We
it's
hope
harmless.
it's harmless.
So what about the theory
that could be where cancer comes from? We don't know.
gives us this particle?
Again, you can find out, but no, they want to talk about definitives like we figured it out, and like it's a close topic. No, it isn't.
Can
You
tell
fucking
you that it won't interact
assholes.
at all.
So the original motivation beyond dark matter is supersymmetry.
Okay, supersymmetry. We did
Supersymmetry.
supersymmetry recently on an episode.
Right.
I think we had Brian Green in here.
Yes,
who
we
talked
did.
about
I have
supersymmetry,
no idea what
where-
the fuck
let me
that
repeat
is.
it if I think I understand it. In supersymmetry, we have our particle universe, electrons, protons, neutrons, right? At a higher energy level, counterparts to those particles exist, and we see them in particle accelerators. So we have a
I don't know about that.
heavier electron, okay, and heavier quarks, which make up the neutron and the proton. And then there's a third level, okay? And so there's three energy layers in the universe. We only can really access the other two in particle accelerators and in energetic places in the universe, okay? So that's the standard model, I guess, right?
That's the standard model.
So the supersymmetry, are you telling me, I think if I remember, there's an entire other counterpart to all of these particles, not just a fourth layer up there, a whole other counterpart.
For every particle that we have in the standard model, there would be a partner. And it has to be a heavier one, so that you double the number of particles, but they're heavier, which is why we don't see them every day. And the heaviest ones decay to lighter ones, until you get to the lightest one. That is a dark matter candidate. And that
So they can't
makes a great WIMP.
They can't decay into our world of particles.
No, they can't.
Why not?
No.
Wait, if you're making all this up anyway, just declare it so.
Man.
Let it be so.
So let it be written. So let it be.
Exactly, because it may as well be that same with math and the same with time. It's all declared and it's so fucking
Done.
Well, there are symmetries, and so they have
So the symmetries force some of the.
they
discussion
have
on
their
it.
they have their own interactions, their own gauge groups, their own symmetries, and if there's a symmetry called R parity, which if that's conserved, then you can't interact with our sector. You
So
just
R stands
decay.
for what in that?
The name is R, capital R dash parity.
Okay.
Doesn't
that's
stand
right.
for anything.
Okay. So when I see particle physicists hang out together, I hear the word gauge come up. Gauge symmetries or gauge things, and I can't claim that I know what they're talking about. Is a gauge a thing? Animal, vegetable, mineral, person, place, or thing? How do I come to understand what gauge means?
It refers to, in mathematics, group theory. So there are different groups.
in mathematics. You're losing points.
That describe these different fundamental forces.
Okay.
And so the gauge group for the weak interactions is different than the gauge group for the strong interactions or the electromagnetic interactions.
Okay. All right. So it's a way to.
But it's all just, we said so.
Is it like classifications, kind of, or?
Organizational.
It's organizational, but it also talks about how things interact with each other.
Okay.
Okay.
So within the strong interactions, the way the strong force works, you have the particles that are made, as you know, of neutrons and protons, and inside there you have quarks and gluons,
Right.
and the gauge group defines how those interactions happen.
Okay. There's a recipe
Gotcha.
in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay. An interaction recipe.
Nice.
Yeah, you're quark, I'm quark. Let's check the gauge
exactly,
table
right.
and see how we interact.
Sounds like a great cooking show. I love it.
And if you're a neutrino, you don't interact
Right,
with anything at all,
all.
other than with weak interactions. So WIMPs are like that, like neutrinos in that sense.
Hey, start talking.
That was cute, by the way.
And see how we interact.
Look at her, watch her. I want to slow it down. Watch her. This is the last thing before I go, because this is some bullshit anyways. I am not impressed at all. It's just, again, it's like math and time, and we just say it, so, and we explained, or they explained how
The great
I'm
cooking show.
justified.
I love it.
But
And
watch her reaction here.
if you're a neutrino, you don't interact
Right,
with
right,
anything at all,
all.
other than with weak interactions. So WIMPs are like that.
And she wants to have a moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is where me, as an alpha, I would recognize that she's having a moment and have it with her. Basically, is why I would end up fucking her in the back room somewhere. Meanwhile, Chuck and fucking, what the fuck is his name? I want to say Nelson. Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson. They would be talking about whatever. Me and her are fucking in the back, and because there's a connection, basically. And again, the alpha is you have connections because you do know what the fuck you're talking about, basically. And these guys are gammas because they only know as far as education goes, whereas her, they know to remember. She knows to understand. And as an alpha like myself, I know to understand. And so to understand it, and then for her to understand it, and we're both singing, we're both clicking. That's what causes us to have that moment. That makes us fuck. Whereas these idiots are like, oh yeah, fairy tales and pretty girls, because they're just random penises thrusting in space. Whereas me, I'm zoned right in with her. You know what I'm saying? That's just my alpha bullshit. But you don't have to worry about that. For this one, I didn't intend for it to be about that, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, we would have flying cars if the world was not evil, but because the world is evil, we don't have flying cars. Think of Elon Musk and how he is held back by everybody, because they wanted to sell us oil, and if Elon did well, it meant no oil sales, so that'll hold them back until they too had electric cars. And sure enough, everyone had electric cars when Elon was able to make electric cars, and that was the market. They had a chance. For some reason, it wasn't Elon making all of these people lose their money. It was all of them rising up and controlling Elon and them getting their way, and that's why we don't fly cars. That's why America sucks, because that system is what we live with. And the last thing was, I don't know what the because of Conan O'Brien. Basically, he has a room of writers, and they write for him. And then the show's all about him, and there's no mention of the writers. And they get a little bit of money to make it, but then then this fucking Conan O'Brien dude rides off on a $600 million airboat, like an Airbus or whatever, and it's like, but he didn't. He's not. It's a Trojan horse essentially. He's not the real deal. He's has writers basically, and he's fake. And he was selected because he was a sellout whore, and every dime he made, it was, it went through them first. You know what I'm saying? If a hot girl was like, "Hey, I like you, Colin," he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And then the producers all fucked her, and they're like, "You can have her now." I was like, that's basically the relationship that they had. Not saying that's what happened, but I'm just saying that's basically how it was. But that's why, and again, that's how America is, and that's why America sucks, because America is rigged, and we need to get rid of that rigged nature that America is held back by, and we have flying cars, and we would have actual writers that led individual talk shows, and we wouldn't have Hollywood that produced like the whole fucking. It went from just owning some of California to fucking ruining all of the world basically, and that wouldn't exist if it didn't have control. But anyways, that's all I want to say. Yeah, I I wrote that down. Actually, I dictated. Uh, I have the link and everything. I was ready, but I just remember I was like, oh shit, I can just save it and upload it when I have my internet back. But anyways, that's it. So people will be happy. Be safe. If you want to know more, let me know. I could talk about this shit all day. If you want it live, feed it to me. Let me know, ask me, and talk to me. Because I am the shit. I am Alpha and Alpha King of Kings. The system hates me. They want to shut me up. And the reason why is because I want to free you guys from the chains of the bullshit they have you hiding under. And I know Elon Musk would basically he'd own America more so than he does currently right now. But they own the system enough to be able to deny the richest man in the world and keep him from giving us UFOs as regular transportation. I could literally, I'm in my wheelchair right now, and if Elon Musk was able to do what he did, I could get up and fly away in my wheelchair because he probably would have advanced technology far enough. And the whole thing about women being part of the equation too, that would have been a long time coming. It would have been here for a long time, but again, because we didn't have men being able to stand up against these dominant males, we're talking about penises instead of science. You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why back then you look at all the statues and shit, and they'll have little baby dicks and their balls are all fucking like tiny and shit. The reason why is because they weren't fucking animalistic pigs. They were sophisticated, knowledgeable people, and they weren't talking about sex. They're talking about science all the time. You know what I'm saying? They still had kids, they still fucked, they still did shit, but that wasn't their life. They were more than that. And when you get older, you will realize, oh shit, there's more to life. But you don't know that because you're 30 and you die at 30 and you think that's it, but there's more to it than that. But anyways, I'm married and you would know if you're smart. But anyways, you want to be happy, be safe. I'm married. I don't give a fuck. Hate me if you want. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Fuck you if you're hating, bitch. But if you don't hate and you're just some random dude, notice or know that Alpha welcomes all, even other alphas, and I will work with an alpha. This is why I'm looking. I may have found my dual partner, by the way, for League of Legends. So keep an eye for that. But yeah. But yeah, anyways, I'm out, people. Be happy, be safe, take care, be strong. I love you. God bless, Godspeed, intelligence, independence, America, peace.